Record. Okay. All right. Everybody can see me and hear me. And we may have some people pop on as we go, which is fine. Okay, so I wanted to announce first before I dive into our topic, what I'm gonna be doing instead of doing like a monthly challenge because I don't know. I just feel like summers are a little busy, a little crazy. What I want to do instead is for the months of July and August for sure. The night of our team call or our community call, I'm gonna put everybody's name in a hat and do a drawing for a $50 Amazon card. As a little incentive to get people on these calls. I just think they're really important. I think that it's nice to be able to ask questions like in real time instead of like typing it or like you have a question then you forget to ask me. um I love doing like question and answer at the end. I love that you guys get to see each other and connect with each other as well. I just think the community aspect's really important because let's face it, not everybody has people in their life that are on a similar journey, like really focusing on their health and wellness. And so it is really nice to connect with, especially other women who understand, like our moms are busy professionals and we all kind of are going down the same path together. So I just think it's really important to try to get on these calls, and I want to just incentivize you guys a little bit to get on them. Okay, I think I'm gonna share this presentation, and could one of you guys just unmute yourself and let me know that you can in fact see it? Because once I go full screen, I can't see our Zoom thing anymore. Can you guys see this?
No, I still see you.
Just me?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, I didn't share the screen. Remember the one time I did that and you guys just had to look at my face the whole time and I was like,
Yes.
I had this like wonderful like slideshow and nobody got to see it while I was talking because that's how life is, I guess.
We
Okay.
can see it now.
Is this good?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so I wanted to talk about training with intensity. I've had this conversation with many of you, just like in our one-on-one check-ins, especially when we're kind of like going through your app data, looking at food logs, and then also like going into some of your workouts and just making sure that you're lifting the appropriate weights, because it's important for muscle growth. And we're going to talk about the basics of muscle growth, why it's important, and what we can do. So, we're going to talk about why intensity matters more than time. Time being like, how long are you at the gym? Which is good news because you don't need to be there for an hour to get an effective workout. So, we can already mark that down as a positive. Common mistakes holding women back, how to actually train with intensity, even if you're busy or new to lifting, and simple tools to implement right away. I accidentally went backwards. Okay. So you're working out, nothing's changing. Fat loss is stalling. You feel like you're doing everything, but seeing no results. Like there's nothing more frustrating than putting in the time and not having the results, right? So there are a couple common reasons why this could be happening. Obviously, like we talk a lot about diet and nutrition is super important, but when it comes down to like our workouts, it could be that we're just kind of going into autopilot when we get to the gym or when we are lifting our weights. We're maybe relying too much on cardio to see progress, and we're not pushing ourselves in our lifts. So intensity is the missing link to all of this. So what intensity is effort plus load plus intent. So effort is how close you push yourself to muscular failure, or in other words, how hard you're working. So an example of this is doing a set of 10 reps when you could have done 12 means you're training with high effort. High effort can be achieved even with lighter weights, depending how close you get to failure. So it's going to be different for everybody, I guess, is what that really says. Um, Load, the actual weight or resistance used. Heavier loads typically mean higher mechanical tension, which is key for building strength. Um, I have to keep moving this. Sorry, guys. Oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, now what? Sorry. I've done this before. Gosh darn it. All right, give me a sec. Lost it. Okay. I'll zip through that quickly. All right. So, where were we? Okay, so load is the actual weight or resistance used. Heavier loads typically mean higher mechanical tension, which is key for building strength and muscle. And then intent, your focus and purpose behind each rep. How deliberately you execute the movement includes tempo, control, mind-muscle connection. Are you moving the weights just to finish the set, or are you actively trying to create tension in the target muscle? So are you just like going into autopilot, slinging the weights around just so you can check the box or not? Why this matters. Training with true intensity means you're choosing an appropriate load for your goal. I'm gonna make this bigger again. Bringing a high level of effort, not just going through the motions, lifting with intent, not rushing or using sloppy form. This combination drives muscle growth and strength gains, not just lifting heavier or doing more reps. It's not just about sweating or soreness. I feel like if you came from the Beachbody world, then you might relate to like focusing on the super high calorie burn on your watch during your workouts, or gosh, I really didn't break a sweat, so I must not have worked out very hard. Like that's all like debunked, okay? To keep making progress, your workouts must become more challenging over time because your body adapts to what you consistently do. So, progressive overload. Here's an example. Let's say you're doing 3 sets of 10 squats with 50 pounds, and it feels easier over time, which it should, right? Because we're getting stronger. You might go to 55 pounds next week, or you might aim for 11 to 12 reps with the 50 pounds. Most of your workouts, I have you guys set between 10 and 12 reps. So that's why it says or aim for 11 to 12 reps. That we call that like the top of your rep range. Your rep range is 10 to 12. Um, so that's why it says that. Or you could add a fourth set, which I have your sets already programmed in there for you, so you guys don't really need to worry about that one. That is progressive overload in action. Okay, so let's look at these two things, intensity versus volume. So you could do 3 intense sets with effort, load, and intent. Example being 8 squats at 100 pounds, taken close to failure with controlled form. This builds muscle strength and triggers adaptations. Or you could do 6 autopilot sets, 12 squats at 50 pounds, far from failure, rushed form, no real focus. Feels like you're doing more because you're doing 6 sets, but it delivers less. It's less stimulus on your muscles, so you're not going to have as much progress. So you guys can kind of like do this inventory like during your workouts. Signs you're not training with enough intensity would be stopping when your set starts to feel hard. We need to learn to push ourselves beyond hard to really see progress. Like hard is when it just is getting started. It's just like the warm up, okay? You're using the same weights week after week. I hate to use the Beachbody example again, but I feel like that was such a constant thing. That I was like always using like 15-pound dumbbells for upper and lower body week after week. Um, you leave the gym feeling like you could have done more. You're still relying heavily on cardio to feel like you did something. So what happens when you train with intensity? We can increase our lean muscle mass. Okay. So that's like literally all of our goals. I know a lot of us are still working on losing body fat, but we also are wanting to increase lean muscle mass at the same time because it burns more fat at rest. It's more metabolically active. We get to eat more food, right? It helps us achieve that more toned and firm look, even at the same weight, better hormone balance, stronger metabolism, more energy, confidence, and body autonomy. So you can measure this through a rate of perceived exertion chart. Like these are very common in the like fitness setting. Like you may even see this like up at your gym. 1 to 4 is like so easy you might as well not even have done it. 5 to 6 is like those are my warm-up weights. 7 is you could do 3 more reps for sure. 7.5 to 8, you could do 2 more reps. 9, you could do 1 more rep. 10 is like max effort. I could not have done 1 more rep or I would have collapsed. So for muscle growth, which a fancy term for that is hypertrophy, you generally should train in the range of 7 to 9. And so we call that reps in reserve. So you're training to the point where you could do only 1, 2, or 3 more. Okay, so we kind of just talked about that in that last chart. So 7 is you could do 3 more reps, 8, you could do 2 more reps, 9, you could do 1 more rep. You'll notice that it doesn't say 10 because it's kind of counterproductive to train to failure every single set, every single day, every single time, because it's very taxing on our central nervous system. Our form starts to break down, and then we can risk injury. So, big compound lifts like squats, deadlifts, presses, like those that use multiple muscle groups, it's better to leave 1 to 2 reps in reserve, run 1 to 2 reps in the tank. If recovery is limited, let's say you had a really terrible night's sleep, you've got a baby that's not sleeping, or sick kids who kept you up, or just, the lovely night sweats that some of us are experiencing, you would definitely not want to try to like max out your reps and your weight in the next workout because your central nervous system is already maxed out. So it wouldn't be very safe. So some general guidelines here. So like those compound lifts that use like multiple muscle groups, like full body lifts, you want to stop with 1 to 2 reps before failure. Accessory lifts like lateral raises, bicep curls, any like tricep press downs or tricep extensions. Occasionally train to failure, maybe on the last set. I personally, I like to choose my heaviest weight on my first set when my muscles are fresh. But it's totally up to you. Like if you pick up weights your first set and let's say you're like, oh gosh, I totally could do like 5 more. And so your second set, you pick up a little bit heavier and you're like, well, I could totally do like 4 more. So like sometimes when you're still trying to find what that sweet spot is, you're gonna possibly end up getting to that by your third or last set. For beginners or intermediates, focus on your form, your consistency, and progressive overload. You don't need to like try to kill yourself going to failure while you're learning how to strength train. It has taken me a very long time personally. You guys know I think I started my journey like 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. And I'm still working on my form. That's my nephew is my coach and he's like my form police. So it takes time just to make sure that we're, utilizing the correct muscles and we're, reducing our risk of injury. So adding lifting to failure is not something that you need to worry about right away. It does take a mindset shift. You're stronger than you think. Don't chase the sweat. Okay, chase the stimulus. You don't need more time, you need more focus. So the next steps would be to just continue tracking your weights in the app. Um, you guys can use that rate of perceived exertion chart just to kind of keep like a mental note while you're working out. Or take a screenshot of it, keep it on your phone or put it in your phone notes. Um, Over time, work to increase the weights you lift. It doesn't have to be weekly, especially in a calorie deficit where the fuel isn't coming in. You're not going to be seeing like big personal records or PRs like every single week. It might be every other week or every few weeks. And then there are those muscle groups like, your shoulders where you're doing lateral raises using the same weights for like 7 years. And that's also very normal too. Those smaller muscle groups take a lot longer to grow. And then just continue focusing on your effort and your form. Make sure you're leaving nothing on the table. At the end of your workouts, you can say like, I am confidently saying I gave it all I had in that workout. And we want to try to do that every single time. Now, of course, life happens, illness, injury, sick kids, little sleep. So, not every workout is going to feel that way, but most of the time it should. I pulled these screenshots from one of you guys just so that we could kind of take a look at it together. So you'll notice here with the Smith machine back squat, um, it's supposed to be 4 sets and then the rep range is 10 to 12. Okay. So you can notice here that this client, um, was very easily at the top of the rep range, and I would recommend bumping up at least that third or fourth set by 5 or 10 pounds. Um, because to me, I'm like, okay, 4 sets at that at 12 at the top of your rep range, like I feel like you're stronger than you think. It's also important to take this full 90-second rest or whatever's programmed in because that helps give your central nervous system time to recover. It helps your heart rate come down. It helps your muscles um, be more fresh for the next set. So don't be doing any burpees or jumping jacks or any stupid things like that in between your sets. You walk around. That's what you do. You walk around, you take some deep breaths, you shake it out, you stretch it out. Then you put your game face on and you get back into the next set, lifting with the same intensity as the one before. Okay? Now let's look at the RDL here. So the rep range is the same, 10 to 12. The first set she did 12 reps at 40 pounds and then it dropped down to 6. Sometimes there's, a typo, but if it really was 6, maybe it was because she didn't take her full 90-second rest. Maybe it just didn't feel right for whatever reason. But then she was back up to 11 and then she was at 7. So for this one, I would say let's stick to 40, okay? Because we had these 2 sets where we were not quite there. Really focus on form, going nice and slow through the motions, really focusing on the muscle groups that are supposed to be targeted, and continue next week at 40 pounds. Okay? Um, all right. So that's the end of my slides, but I definitely want to leave some time here for any questions that you guys have. Um, so yeah, let's open it up. You guys can like unmute and put your faces on here if you want to. Bueller. Is everybody being shy?
No, it all makes sense.
Okay. And some of
Um,
us have talked about these things before, but some of us are newer and we haven't had that conversation yet. So I thought this was a good one for us to talk about tonight.
mhm.
Does anyone have questions about like their own specific like scenarios that you can think of that you've got into where you were lifting and you're like, gosh, I'm not really sure if I should stay the same, go up, um, or any takeaways from tonight's info?
I think I need to bump my weights up so I'm getting a better workout in. Sometimes I feel like I'm not going to failure, and
Yeah.
that's kind of hindering it.
Well, here's the thing. What's the worst that can happen? So you grab the 15 pounds instead of the 10 pounds and you give it a try and you get 4 reps and you're like, okay, nope, not ready yet. You just put them back down, grab the lighter ones and finish your set. Not a big deal.
Mhm.
But you don't know until you try.
Yep.
Claire tagged me on Instagram today. She bumped way up on looked like leg extension maybe. You just don't know until you try. I think a lot of us are a lot stronger than we think. Oh, okay. So Claire said she actually bumped down today because she felt like her form wasn't there. Um, I also have bumped down a lot just to really focus on form. And I think it takes like a little bit of oh, I don't know what the right word is. Not humility, but like just like knowing your limits and just like being okay with that too. You take your ego out of it maybe and just be like okay with not going up. That's why I give you guys a range to work with because it's like we don't always need to just hit like on the nose a certain number of reps or something like that. But yeah, that's very normal. You guys are always welcome if you're like questioning one of your lifts and you're like, I just am not sure. Just take a video of yourself and you can watch it back and compare it to the demonstration video in your app, or you are always welcome to text it to me. I can review it, I can break it down for you, help you fix up your form. It's super important because we can even be going through the motions but having some slight like imbalance or favoring a side or something like that. And then we're not really 100% targeting the muscle group that's intended. And not that it's a waste of time, but we can really maximize our workouts a lot more if we are really focused on form. All
Hey
right.
Leah, sorry.
Hi.
I was late, first of all, sorry.
Oh,
And
you're fine.
I was outside, so I couldn't get off mute. But yeah, I felt like a badass this morning, pushing 140 pounds, so that was awesome. But yeah, it was the curls, like those hamstring curls on that
Hmm.
machine
Yeah.
that I had been doing like regularly 80, and then I realized that I think my extension wasn't going back far enough because the machine at that gym actually does the counting for you. And I'm
Oh,
like, wait a minute, I'm at 8 and it's only like logged 5 per se. And I think it's because I wasn't doing the full extension, if that makes sense. So that's why I
yeah,
dropped
like the
my
machine has
weight.
to lock out or something like that to count it.
Yeah. So but I do think it was like my form, like I wasn't activating maybe my entire hamstring and it was easier to do. Well, it wasn't easier, but I felt like I was activating full muscle group when I dropped down. But I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, that's always my question is like, how do I know if I'm right form or not? I still feel like it's a very much of a,
There's a big learning curve.
yeah,
That's a normal process because, you're not a certified personal trainer. Like
nope.
none of us are. So we don't know what it's supposed to feel like. Um, but going nice and slow through the motions definitely helps. I literally visualize the muscle that I am working. So when you go to your lift, click on the demonstration video. It not only shows you the video, but it should show you highlighted muscle groups. Okay. So like if you're doing um that hamstring curl, the backs of your thighs should be lit up. Those are your hamstrings. When I'm doing something like that, I am like visualizing. It's the mind muscle connection. I'm like thinking about those muscle groups. I'm visualizing them working hard. I'm visualizing them squeezing. It sounds silly, but it works and it takes time to perfect that. And honestly, in this day and age, you guys, like nobody cares about people filming themselves at the gym. I just need you to get over that right away. If you're at home, that's like no big deal. But sometimes I think people are like bashful to like prop their phone up and just take a quick video. I always just look around and just make sure that nobody else is going to be in it because I don't want to be rude and like post somebody on my social media. Um, and I even asked somebody the other day, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna set my phone here. It's recording me this way, just so you know, like you're not in it. Don't feel like weird or whatever. And she was like, oh no, that's so smart. I should do that because I think I go too fast when I'm lifting. And I'm like, yes. I do that too, and that's why I like to watch myself back. So don't be afraid to do that. We think we look a certain way. Every time I watch myself back, I'm like, why am I going so fast? Slow down. And I'm like, in the moment, I'm like, oh my gosh, I am going so slow, but I'm not. So I think it's really helpful, and it's one of the ways to learn and become better at your lifts. It just is. Think about how we learn how to do other things. It's by just like trial and error, practice, 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 fixing up your form. Um, it's gonna be the way to really maximize your results, aside from progressive overload, obviously. Okay. I'm gonna repeat what I said at the very beginning. I know Claire, you popped on late. For our July and August community calls, I'm gonna be doing a drawing. So whoever gets on the call, I'm gonna do a $50 Amazon gift card. Everybody who's on, I'm gonna put your name in a hat. I'm gonna draw your winner. Um, and we'll do July and August. It'll still be the first Monday of the month at 7 p.m. And then we're not gonna do any team challenges during the summer months just because people get schedules are a little crazy and things like that. So we'll keep it simple. I'm working to line up um somebody who is like a holistic practitioner who specializes in anxiety, depression, mental health. Really hoping I can get him on in July or August. So stay tuned for that. I'm so freaking excited. But I want to bring some really fun stuff to you guys too. So if you have, I want it to be beneficial. If you've got topics that you want covered, please feel free to send me a private message and I'll add it to the list. Again, if you're new, we do these the first Monday of every month at 7 o'clock. Usually lasts like half hour. Keep it short and sweet. Stuff that you guys can use and take into the next day of your life. And yeah, hit the ground running, okay? Any final words before we say goodbye? All right. Then I will see you in your check-ins this week, guys. Take care. Bye.